Hey, good Friday morning. I'm glad you're up with us here on 13 Sunrise. I'm Julia, along with Samantha, who is in for Julia, and Chuck here on your Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend, so we're counting on you to deliver weather-wise.
Well, I'll tell you, what we want is not what is very opportune, and that's rain, right? We need a lot of it. We're down, depending on where you are, 1 to 5 inches as far as what we need. We're not going to get that today, but we already have rain in the area as promised. And most of it's to the north. Again, as promised, it's, let's see, 6 o'clock right now. This is a look, excuse me, at Doppler 13 this morning. Notice the heavier cells around Rockville, right in covered bridge territory in Park County. We've also got some lightning near there. Crawfordsville, you've got a little bit of light rain, and in Webo territory, there around Dover, just west of Lebanon, it's raining pretty hard on a couple of cells. Also just east of Lafayette. Kempton and Forest, you're getting wet. Good morning to you this morning. Same for Fairmount, and it's raining at Gas City. Upland, right there at Taylor University, you've got rain knocking on your door this morning. And to the north, I'm watching this line. This is indicative of the front that's starting to move through. And with that front has come some pretty gusty winds. Just a minute ago, we had at Kokomo a 32-mile-per-hour wind gust. Right now, Terre Haute with 22-mile-per-hour wind gusts. 54 out there this morning, 53 in Bloomington, 52 in Kokomo. Is it going to rain all day? No. But will we have periods of rain? Yes. By 8 a.m., 48, 58 by 11. And again, when the kids are coming home from school, 73 degrees. Again, no all-day rain, but especially in this morning, and especially north of Indy, some of you will see a couple of brief downpours and a rumble of thunder. So we'll have more on the timeline for this in just a few minutes. But I'll tell you, Matt, to our north, that rain, you can see it, right?
You can. This is live look in Tippecanoe County. I-65 north where you're meeting State Route 26. There on the east side of Lafayette. Rain's coming down. You can see the roadway is now soaked out there. A little bit of road spray behind some of these vehicles too. So some of us are wet and then some of us are dry. We're taking you out to Wayne County. This is I-70 East there at Centerville Road. Big sectional game tonight. The Royals from Eastern Hancock taking on the Bulldogs. We'll be watching that game, probably mostly cloudy, maybe a stray sprinkle like Chuck was mentioning. But right now we're dry, and we're probably going to be one of the drier counties overall with that rain to the north and west. Speaking of Wayne County, got those road closures on US 35. You take Williamsburg Pike exit past the Loves, headed to Muncie, 3 different road closures. These open up on Halloween, and then another one November 15th. That's the one close to Economy. And then, of course, I-65 South as you get close to downtown Indianapolis. That is still closed for another 6 days. We'll have another update on traffic here in about 15 minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Our top story at 6, it's the latest in the Delphi murders trial. As yesterday, we learned about the first time that investigators interviewed Richard Allen.
And we also learned how they revisited him as a suspect years after the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. Our Emily Longnecker has the latest from Carroll County.
Up until now, we've heard testimony about the crime scene, how Abby and Libby died, and what witnesses say they saw on the trail that day that the girls disappeared. On day 6 was the first day that Richard Allen took center stage as the state continues to try and convince this jury that he is responsible for these murders. Jurors heard from 6 witnesses Thursday and learned how police pinpointed Richard Allen is a suspect more than 5 years after the murders. The jury learned Allen voluntarily called a tip line and was interviewed by a DNR officer 3 days after Abby and Libby's bodies were found. DNR officer Dan Doolin told the jury nothing in Allen's interview stuck out. Doolin testified Allen said he'd been on the trail that day from 1:30 to 3:30 and saw 3 girls walking there. Allen's file was marked cleared until 5 years later when a file clerk came across it again and remembered a tip about a man on the trail that day. Former Delphi Police Chief Steve Mullins explained how investigators found video of what they say is Allen's car near the trails on the day of the murders. The defense got Mullins to admit Allen told police he drove to the trail a different way that day than the route Mullins claimed Allen did. The jury also saw video Libby took on the bridge of Abby with bridge guy behind her that afternoon. Carroll County Sheriff Tony Liggett testified to what he heard after watching and listening to that video hundreds of times. Liggett says on the video you can hear Abby say, "Is he right there? Don't leave me up here." Then Libby talks about the path and one of them whispers, "That be a gun." Then Libby says, "No path here, go down this way." Right after that, Liggett says you hear the man from the video say, "Guys?" One of the girls replies, "Hi." And then the man says, down the hill. The jury also heard from lead investigator Indiana State Police Lieutenant Jerry Holman, who helped serve a search warrant in October 2022 on Allen's house, 2 hours after police interviewed Allen, letting him know he was a suspect. Holman says twice during the search of his home, Allen said, quote, "It doesn't matter, it's over." The jury also saw pictures of more than 25 knives and box cutters they took from Allen's home, along with several phones and pagers. They also saw the gun police believe Allen had that day. 13 News legal analyst Katie Jackson-Lindsay was in the courtroom Thursday to hear about what police took from Allen's home, saying it was likely impactful for the jury.
We know that they weren't murdered with a gun, but just that element of that fear that they would have faced if it's actually true that they were approached with that gun.
The jury also saw a picture of a wooden keepsake box where police say they found a bullet that's the same kind as the one found at the crime scene. The defense argued nothing connected to Abby or Libby was ever found at Allen's home. In Delphi, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Well, we know at some point we expect to hear details of the 60-plus alleged confessions that Richard Allen made while he was being held before the trial. Our Bob Siegel and Emily Longnecker will be back in court later today in Carroll County, and we'll have more here on 13 News and at WTHR.com. And every weeknight at 10. Be sure to watch our Delphi debrief on WTHR Plus. That is streaming. It's free. You can download that app on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and Roku as well.
6:06 now. This morning we are hearing from parents calling for safety changes outside their children's school on Indy's southeast side.
The school is along a busy roadway, and parents say drivers are going way too fast, and then someone is going to end up seriously hurt. Sia New Yorker was following this story this morning. A pretty serious call to action from these parents, Sia.
Yes, good morning, Jalea. Good morning, Samantha. The speed limit here on US 52 Brookville Road is 50 miles per hour, but parents say drivers are flying down this road right in front of this school. Now, the parents from Burge Terrace Christian School say they are sometimes terrified when they're trying to drop off and pick up their kids. Leslie Martin says on Thursday morning she was driving her 3 boys to school here when a driver behind her became frustrated and followed her onto school property. She said the man cursed at her and made vulgar gestures. She was frightened and said, "Enough is enough." She and several other parents have reached their limit and say something needs to be done to slow these drivers down.
And I feel like every day it's a danger. Like, I shouldn't be scared to get my kids to school in the morning, and cars are flying and tempers are flying, and it's just not right. It's just not right. We need a school zone to help get our kids to safety.
Now, several parents we spoke with say that they want NDOT to get involved here and put in some safety measures. I'll tell you what they would like to see coming up on Sunrise at 6:30. Shalia?
All right, we'll see you then, Samantha. Thank you.
A Plainfield police officer has now resigned after chasing a suspect and crashing into an uninvolved car, killing 2 people.
Barbara and Benny Williams died in August after that crash along US 40. Avon police led this criminal investigation. They discovered the officer was driving 100 miles per hour seconds before that crash. They determined that the officer failed to drive with heightened risk awareness as he entered that intersection.
A former Brownsburg teacher won't spend any time behind bars for her role in making a student with special needs eat his own throw up in the cafeteria. Julie Taylor pleaded guilty to failure to report and was given 90 days probation. Police say during the incident, Taylor provided a tray to the 7-year-old student to throw up on before another teacher forced him to eat it. 2 other former staffers were charged with neglect of a dependent. They're both set to go on trial next year.
A former Henry County Jail corrections officer accused of excessive force is facing federal charges.
Curtis Doty is charged with deprivation of rights under color of law from an incident in February. That's when he was one of the officers directing inmates to face the wall and remain seated during a search of an inmate housing pod in that jail. The DOJ says Doty hurt an inmate when he shot his pepper ball gun at point-blank range into the inmate's spine when an inmate turned his head away from the wall. So if convicted, he faces up to 10 years in prison. In sports now, the Pacers head to the bright lights of New York City to take on the Knicks at Madison Square Garden.
Hopefully they dim their light a little bit. This is the first matchup between the teams since the Pacers eliminated the Knicks in Game 7 of last year's Eastern Conference semifinals. The Blue and Gold will be without backup center James Wiseman. He tore his left Achilles tendon during Wednesday's game when we won over the Detroit Pistons. Tonight's game with the Knicks, it tips off at 7:30. Again, it's away in New York.
And how about those Hoosiers? IU football is 7-0 heading into tomorrow's game with Washington at Memorial Stadium. That's in Bloomington. Washington is 4-3 on the season. IU, though, will start sophomore quarterback Taven Jackson after Curtis Rourke injured his right thumb last weekend against Nebraska. And listen, if you're going to the game tomorrow, please keep this in mind. The parking and tailgate lots, those open at 6 a.m. ESPN's College Game Day is going to be set up over in the South End Zone Plaza. That area will open up at 6:30. You'll want to get there plenty early if you want to be part of that too. Kickoff for IU and Washington set for noon tomorrow at Memorial Stadium. Chuck, that's going to be a fun one.
Just think, not only will the 60,000 people be celebrating IU, they'll be celebrating Julia's birthday, ladies and gentlemen. The
Yes.
rain will be out by then, but today we've got rain and even a couple of thunderstorms just north of the metro area. You can see that lightning around Covington and Flora, near Lafayette and near Lebanon this morning with some heavy downpours. We'll take a look at the chances for rain the rest of the day in minutes.